Good evening, one and all. Yes, good evening. We are here. Concerned Citizens Movement Program, Concerned Citizens Movement Program. We are on again for yet another Friday. Patriot Voices on Q. And it is now just 1 minute after 6 o'clock, so we're actually on time, dead on time. And we're happy to be here and to be with you one more time as customary to give you some good information. All right, we have our brother Zah already sitting in the studios of Q95 Radio. Our brother Washburn Coffee is unable to come here this evening. He's not feeling too well, and so he will not be in with us this evening. However, we'll be having our brother Ronald Lander and also linking Maslin Edwards at the 7 o'clock hour so we could have some discussions on the economy. All right, so yeah, we'll be talking a bit about the economy from 7 o'clock until 8 o'clock. Of course, during that time, we'll allow you to call in and make your contribution. But for this evening's program, we have our spiritual message from Mrs. Jimena Vidal Valentine. We'll have a brief discussion on electoral reform. And of course, we'll, like I said, we'll talk about the economy and presidential nominees, which I know is very hot topic those days. So we'll, of course, have a little chit chat on that, and we'll let you know what we think about Levi Peter. But let me tell you in advance, Levi Peter deserves some mipwe, and he's going to get some of that tonight. Right? He will get some mipwe tonight. I think he deserves it. So we'll touch a little about the presidential nominees this evening. All right, folks, we have to move on quickly because by 6:45 we want to start getting ready to have discussions on the economy. All right, so let us just listen to a little spiritual music, and while I do that, I will call out my list, and then we'll put on Brother Star as well, so he can give some greetings and a few brief opening remarks. So please take a listen at this time.
Down on my knees, I found my Jesus. Down on my knees, I found my Lord. It wasn't on the mountain.
All right, let me just call my list while you listen to the music in the background. First and foremost, my beautiful daughter, my princess Kimaya, and her mom Ketika. Auntie May at Salisbury, Delbert Blanchard and his wife in St. Martin, Auntie Martha, Bibia and family at Tarish Pit, Jennifer Christopher, Brother Angelo Allen, Urban Long and family, Mr. Foy and family in Kulibistri, our little granny up there in Belverol, Miss Francilia Isaac, good evening to you, ma'am, Rash Joseph, Jan, our brother Corbett Vidal, this big time farmer down in Salisbury. Also, we have Mrs. Ernestine Pelty as a mother of Matt Pelty. Miss Jennifer Zavi up here in Port Michelle, you and your husband and the entire family. Wowon, Mr. Christian Puri, Rash Brigo, Edith Francois, the Tegas man Jimbo, our brother Dorian, Mr. Whitney Louis, and lest I forget, let me wish you a little happy birthday. I understood you are 91 and still going strong. You drive your way to the gardens and you're still on the farm. So I'm hoping when I get to your age, I can be as strong as you, Mr. Whitney Louis. So enjoy. We know you may have enjoyed the birthday, but we want to wish you many, many, many more years to come and to be in good health, of course. So to both you and your wife, pleasant good evening to you guys. Moving Blanchard, a.k.a. Kawi, Cyrus Raphael, better known as Sindo. We have our brother James and Daru from Good Hope. Mr. Lionel Laville, good evening to you, sir. Sandra Smith and her daughter Cressida Raymond in Connecticut, USA. Akela, Daniel, Jessica, Nola Michelle, Kalunda, Manu, all these guys from Tyree Pit. Our dear sister Judith Dover from Guato Village. CCM members to include but not limited to Susanna Rule, Maureen, Mr. Lee Robinson, Earl Bruno, Lofty, and all the others. Good evening to you guys. Dr. Clinton Lingford, Dr. Thompson Fontaine, Dr. Dale Dangleben, Sam Christian. I believe today is Sam Christian's birthday, you know. Yeah, I just something on Facebook, but I was a bit busy, but yeah. So, Doc, I wish you happy birthday. Hope you are doing okay up in the USA, and we wish you good health and strength. Dr. Irvin Christian, Dr. Irvin Pascal, Dr. Hazel Ricketts, Dr. Irvin Andre, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Hendricks Paul, Jed Woodman, Edith Abraham, Val Ferry, Mindy on High Street, Timeless Queen, our flower girl, Vivi, down here in the Roseville area, the beautiful flowers and plants. Hope you're doing fine. So today, Sally from Warner, Jermaine from Tyrese Pitt, our brother Maurice from Citroën, Sandra Sylvester, better known as Missan. Good evening to you. Robinson Charles of Campbell, better known as Small or Tiddly, Angel and Abigail, Dion Philbert, Ivan Nicholas, Brian Linton, Tony Caesar and family Dotola, our dear brother and member of CCM, David C. Joseph. Good evening to you, sir. I know you're always locked in. I hope you're doing okay. Ronald Marie, that's the man from VCAS up there in the VIs. Fafa, Marlonita, I know you are locked in and listening to us. Hoping to see you very soon. Take good care of yourself. Agatha Samuel, better known as Carrot, the Bruno family in Port Michelle, Joan Frampton, Mapowa, Janice, or Hilme Bruno. Greetings also to Shirley Allen, Pape Palais. I've not heard you in a while. I hope everything is fine with you. We have our regulars, of course, Blue Blonde Lucille, the family members of Mr. Ralph McGraw. I heard some announcement about the McGraw family. Is it Ralph's wife who died? His wife. Okay, see something like
Something like
I hear, but I'm busy at work and then yeah, I can't really
it's a family member.
remember. Okay, I'm not too sure which one, if his wife or someone in the family. Okay, but whichever family member of Mr. Wagner is there, let me just extend our condolences to you. Someone will call you, and I know Blue Blue will have all the information. Blue Blue will call you and tell us whether it's his wife or someone in the family member. Mona Louise, the big pot lady, I hope you are busy in the kitchen as usual. If you're a big pot and there's sweet corn in it. Well, I like to say that, Mona. Nerika T, Jessica, my good old friend, Mr. Norman Linford, the African brother, Mrs. Doreen Francis, our little granny and auntie and everything, Auntie Betsy, up there in Buffet State. She too, I know, is always locked in. Fano, Lister George, Zed Lloyd, Blessings, Michael Copel, Mr. and Mrs. Ozzy Lewis. Of course, I must take a pause and say good evening to Mrs. Lewis and Emzol. I hope everything is okay with you. We wish you God blessings and all the best. Tyrone Theophil. You also have the nurses, doctors, the lawyers, the post officers, the fire officers, Mrs. Desiree John, our dear nurse down in Pottersville, you and your husband, Nurse Norma Rample. Good evening to you, ma'am. I hope everything is okay with you. And we have Richie in Good Hope, Keith Matthew, Yolanda Roy, and mom Patricia, Adelaide Paul, Olivia Philogen from Collio, and of course all the other patriots of the land, both home and abroad. Let me say greetings and best wishes to all. Do enjoy the balance of the program. Barrister.
All right, let me just quickly, John, my little Kai, hope you're doing all right and stay cool. I know you're listening. My sports rap crew, Sir Luis, Dr. Low Black, and Professor Lockhart. You guys had a very good program last night with Viv Richards. I don't know if you listened, Brother John. Viv was on the sports rap last night, and there's one really question I wish I had time to ask last night. I think Low Black hinted to it a little bit, and that is the status of league cricket in Ozzy Lewis and Sebo's time, as opposed to now, and how league cricket contribute tremendously to West Indies being a powerhouse. League cricket in Dominica, league cricket in St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, Jamaica, and you had the regional tournaments. As a matter of fact, if I'm correct, Sir Luis and you guys can correct me, West Indians used to go up to play county cricket and they couldn't make West Indies team. We had a Dominican brother called Patrick Lawrence, who was one of the first West Indians to play county cricket in Dominica. He never played for West Indies, but he was of that strength and caliber. He was a pace bowler. He's from the Kings Hill area. All right, but he did play for county cricket in England. So I really wish a little time I would spend with Viv on how local cricket can then transcend or bring West Indies back to the semi-powerhouse it used to be early on. So let me continue with my greetings. Bob Marley, I hope you're listening. I know Brother John hailed your partner already.
Oh, yeah.
Let me hail Marcus Rossi for your tremendous contribution on radio and on chat. Fantastic job. And my international crew, everybody's doing all right. I know it's a little wet in New York, and we're too going to be very wet in Dominica, I think, for the next 2
On
days.
the weekend, yeah.
Okay, but those in Atlanta, those in Florida, those in Chicago, Houston, Texas, London, New Jersey, keep on listening. And let me say good evening to the man on the savannah, the Grand Savan man, as well as the consuls. Don't forget that we after this show, we'll be decompressing at Simsey for a couple of minutes. So if you care to join us there, please do. All right, Brother John? You got it.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, brother sir. Okay, folks, it's now 6:12. We're going to open up the lines for the phone calls, the roll call for just about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we shall move on to the spiritual message. So you call it at this time. Good evening, caller. You're right on cue.
Always right.
Blue, open bats.
Yeah, Mrs. Ralph Magler was the one that passed.
Oh, okay. The wife. Okay.
The wife that passed.
I-
And
okay.
also send out sympathy to Michael Coppel. His mother passed.
Oh,
wow.
okay. I didn't know.
And Michael Coppel, sorry.
Oh,
And Michael Timothy.
Michael Timothy.
Okay.
Say Michael Land.
It's the same war. It's the same war.
Well, actually, my daughter and Michael Timothy daughter, they are good friends, and she told me her friend Granny died.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it never really strike you. No, that I realized. Yes, it's Michael Timothy's mom.
Yeah,
Yes.
Michael Timothy mother.
And Blue, there's one more I forget, and I know you remember Gifford Rennie.
Yes, my dear. Yesterday I was coming last night. I came from a meeting.
Right.
After the meeting last night, and when we come in from the meeting, his son-in-law, Mr.
Yeah,
Loftus Dura, told me, my people passed.
Yes.
When he told me, I said, which people that? Let me give forward.
Gifford Pass,
Gifford
yes.
passed.
Gifford Rennie, that's Angela Rennie's brother.
Yeah, it's Vivian Rennie brother.
Vivian Rennie, Avondale Rennie, and Eustace Rennie.
Catherine Postin.
Yeah, Catherine Faustin brother.
Yeah.
He used to be a postman.
Oh, yes. I knew him. Yes, I knew him.
Any big function in our where the
He could mix a drink.
Yes, I knew him.
Yeah,
I
he
knew
was
him.
the bartender.
Right,
All them
right.
major big functions in
Right,
Guam.
right.
He was the bartender there. If you go to the post office, you will see his picture there with Marlene Detush.
Right.
Okay, good.
His picture in the post office is a good thing that whoever had did that a long time ago.
Mhm.
And gentlemen, I'm listening. Let me have that person call. Bye-bye.
Sure. All right. Jacob Blue. All right.
The Lord's my shepherd, I not want. He makes me down to.
Good evening, caller. You're right on the queue.
Yes, good evening, Numbers Man John.
Earl Bruno.
Hey,
That's the militant brother. How you doing?
Indeed, I'm there.
All right.
Yeah, brother Zah,
Yes, bro. How you doing, man?
doing good.
Good.
I'm doing good. Let me take that opportunity to extend the best condolences to brother Timothy
Mm-hmm.
and the family. Let me wish them, God's blessing and strength in this time, losing your mom, in this difficult time. And blessing, yeah, me blessing. Michael and Michael Coppel, they are also related.
Oh.
So,
Mm.
I mean, it's no error to say Coppel. or
It's close. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm listening and good for holding the fort. Yeah, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, and let me also extend our condolences to Michael Timothy and his family, of course, on the passing of his mom. I know that's a very sad time. You can actually put yourself in people's shoes, especially when you have gone through it yourself. Your mom died, your father died. Some people will tell you, "Boy, I feel your pain, but the mother is alive. How can you feel person pain?" you have never lost a mother, so you don't really know how it feels.
It's a
And I
self-experience.
tell you, boy, it's not easy. Yeah, it's
It's a
not easy.
self-experience.
If you and you and your mom, you're close, or you and the dad, you're close, it can be really, really devastating. So, bro, hold strong. Good evening, caller. You're right on cue.
Good evening.
To you.
Yeah, I'm
No, Lucille.
I'm listening. Let me tell you, which of the Rennie that died? Gifford, Eustace, or which one?
Gifford. The one
I
that
know
used
the
to be in
one
the
that was
post
with me.
office, in the post office.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's the one who
Okay, all right.
passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
I just there taking it easy on the Hurricane Dome Lake.
Again.
Boy. You have
No,
no lights?
I have like tonight,
Oh, you have lights tonight?
Yeah.
Well, John, you know it's Fed Bowie on the weekend.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah,
I know, Papa, but I haven't got taste like before.
I hope Dominic will mess up
Well,
Bowie.
when you have lights, just say praise the Lord.
Yeah, man.
Lucille.
Well, I have a little death in the area, so Fed Bowie is the last on my mind.
All right. All right. Take care.
Okay, all right.
All right. Cool.
Master scream, he leadeth me, the quiet waters by. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives, he lives, he lives, he lives within my heart. My soul lift up, restore again, and be to walk God's way.
Good evening, caller. You're right on cue.
Wam to papa pale nam de kot pale tongue man.
But
It's a tell my really pale. He did the party pale. Look at now it may be she afraid to talk pale. What I'm to you? You got your tongue?
Probably still call tonight.
Maybe she would call her already. She look like they put her on what do you calling it? Under restrictive orders. Bye-bye.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Of righteousness, even for his name.
Good evening, caller. You're right on cue.
Zoniche. Zoniche, if anytime scary call for something good to drink or to eat up and you want the person not to be in it, take care, bye-bye.
All right, Papa.
Papa Bonji.
There's a story there. There's an idea.
He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives, he lives, he lives within my heart.
All right, it's now 6:20.
My table
We'll go for 1 more minute.
in friends.
Because we've got quite a bit tonight to cover.
My head thou dost with oil anoint, and my cup overflows. Goodness and mercy all my days shall surely follow me, and in God's house forevermore my dwelling place shall be. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives, he lives, he lives, he lives within my heart. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer lives, he lives, he lives, he lives within my heart. He lives, he lives.
All right, folks, we have to move on. It's now 6:20 and we have to get going. All right, so we're going straight to the spiritual message for this evening, the 29th of September 2023, by our dear sister, Hermina Vidal Valentine. So please take a listen at this time.
Greetings, beloved citizens. The prologue for this prophetic message is contained in Isaiah 5:20 to 23. Thus saith the Lord, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and clever in their own sight, etc., etc. This scripture was openly fulfilled in our parliament this week. Parliamentarians, the Spirit of the Lord Almighty is angry with you. You have pushed the envelope too far. You have grieved the Spirit of God. And I stand in condemnation of Mr. Levi's utterance, which brings the high office of the Levites into disrepute, pun intended, thus giving relevance to this distressing refrain. Troublesome times are here, filling men's hearts with fear. The freedom we all held there now is at stake. In light of this, the remnants are advised to put on daily the whole armor of God for Ephesians 6. Seek the covering of the blood of the Lamb of God and pray always that the seven spirits of God, namely the spirits of God himself, spirit of wisdom, understanding, knowledge, counsel, might, and the spirit of the fear of the Lord, combined with the spirit of John the Baptist, be released exponentially upon those of the household of faith. This practice is essential, seeing that scripture strongly expresses, since the day of John the Baptist, the kingdom suffers violence and the violent takes it by force, close quotes. Many politicians invoke the spirit of Leviathan, the marine spirit, to draw satanic powers for controlling seats of authority. Exodus makes reference to the Nile River as the source of Pharaoh's stronghold. Per Arthur Abu Bakr, those who worship bodies of water are proud, mean, wicked, heartless, and stubborn. Agents of the dragon use enchantments, divination, prognostication, or spell casting to subdue the citizenry. Ezekiel prophesied against that spirit of Pharaoh, that great dragon in the midst of the river. In order to paralyze the activities of these satanic priests and come against or contend with this wicked spirit of Leviathan and the marine spirits, there must be synergy. We, as kingdom stewards, have received the kingdom, so it is ours for the taking through the grace of God and the redemptive power of the blood of Christ. Therefore, cohesion must be employed. Jeremiah 51:20 to 23 refers to kingdom stewards as God's battle axes. If we are resolved to take the kingdom by force, it behooves us to know what are the secrets of Israel's lion-like strength that makes it almost unconquerable, per Isaiah 29, verses 7 and 8. For Psalm 149, 8 to 9, true believers are additionally charged with the honor to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, executing upon them the judgment written. In faith, we seal our testimony with the blood of Christ, trample serpents and dragons, overturn their diabolical queens, and pollute their water with the blood of Christ. Release Akal Esh, the fire of God, along with the thunderbolts of God, to locate and destroy their covens to ashes. Beloved, during the wee hours of Monday morning, it seemed like heaven exploded. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty, Babylon the Great, together again. Never in my lifetime have I heard the sound of thunder so vociferous that one's heart could leap out of their body by the intensity of that explosion. Much to my bewilderment, such an astounding natural event did not make headlines or breaking news. I stand to be corrected if it did. But if not, this is a sure cause for concern. Supernatural rocks, seemingly cataclysmic, were being thrown from above or fell from outer space, and very little took notice of it. Could Storm Erica and Hurricane Maria, combined with the prevailing political crisis, be the cause of this stoical or dispirited attitude of our people? On the other hand, it can also be decoded as falling upon stony hearts or deaf ears. Yet Revelations 2:7 declares, he who has ears to hear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To him who overcomes, I will give to eat from the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God, close quotes. Patriots, God has given the earth to the children of men, and those who are willing and obedient will eat the good of the land. We better wake up from this slumber and arise to the challenge and be resolute to rescue DA by delighting in the word, the rock, Yeshua HaMashiach. If we keep drinking from the rock and do what we believe, we may experience a sudden national deliverance. Be encouraged. God will fight our battles and save our children, per Isaiah 49:24-26. This forementioned heavenly omen confirms that God is doing a quick thing to birth a new Dominica. All things are passed away, and behold, all things are become new. It is interesting to note that the fall of the Babylonian system came crumbling down on Yom Kippur, the day of awe. That thundering sound indicated that Babylon's reign is over and kingdom reign begins. I was led to review Jeremiah chapter 31 in its entirety. The reverential fear of God must be present in the land. We must submit to the lordship of Christ, giving him full preeminence over the current debacle, to include the torturous, excruciating power outages, the repeated wanton violation of our Constitution, electoral reform, mortality crisis, crime surge, record level unemployment, and more. If we believe the report that God has given DA to us and it is ours to possess, we should never surrender our rights to the Anaks or giants or Nephilims who are currently on land. May the legacy of Dominica's remnants be like that of David, a biblical icon who triumphed over Goliath the giant with the release of a smooth stone. That notable heroic declaration contained in 1 Samuel 17 verse 45 or 45. This pronouncement debunks or discredits the adage, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can do no harm. In this case, words had power, for it spoke volumes. That great giant Goliath was struck down by little David's testimony, or one smooth stone, or the rock, which symbolizes the word of God, or the righteous acts of God. Beloved, David released the testimony of God, which is the spirit of prophecy. Patriots, what has God done for you in the past or lately? Use your testimony as your weapon of warfare. It glorifies God, and glory means God's presence. Releasing the righteous acts of God into the atmosphere and declaring what God has done for you means you are releasing your weapon into the direction of your giant, whoever or whatever the giant may be. May all the giants in the land be slain this day. Diasporians or diasporan patriots and those on land, get ready to build Dominica like the Israelites did after the fall of Babylon. And in solidarity with Mrs. Stanford, I stand with Blue Blue and Nurse Rosie. Thanks again for listening. Peace.
Peace and love, my sister. All right, thank you very much for your great message. Of course, we're always appreciative of it, and we know we're getting some positive feedbacks all the time about your message, and we are very happy to have it aired again tonight. So thank you very much, Mrs. Vidal. I know it takes a lot of your time. It's a great effort, and we are very happy for it. Brother Size, we're going to take the first knock. Pastor Zah. Well,
Yeah, let me just start by saying to Ms. Vidal, as usual, a great job. And to be ready at a point of notice. Because when was the discussion in Parliament, Brother John? 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago, I think, right?
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday. 2 days ago, and Ms. Vidal is ready with her theological understanding of what took place, in Parliament. This is just remarkable, and I have to tip my hat out to you, Ms. Vidal, for the consistency in thinking, as well as the symbolism that you always put into your discussion relative to scriptures. All right. So let me just say briefly, I'm not going to be too long because I know we have a heavy hitting session to go through in the next hour and a half. and you ask a critical question. This, what is the secret of the strength of Israel? What is the secret of the strength of Israel? The question is, who is Israel? Who, and Dominicans, we have to understand, and those listening outside of Dominica, international, regionally, when we speak of Israel, who are we talking about? Israel is Jacob. And you know, Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes. All right, but the meaning of Israel is that someone who fights, who wrestles with God, because Jacob was never satisfied with his surroundings, with what he had. So he always challenged God. And there's nothing wrong. I'm an Old Testament guy. There's nothing wrong with challenging God. There's no, as Jacob always did. So the strength of Israel, which is the individual who is Jacob, translate into the community that is Israel. Because Israel was named after Jacob. And remember, Israel is not the promised land. The promised land is Canaan. Because it's the land of the Canaanites. The God of the Hebrews took and gave to Israel. It's not Jerusalem. It's Canaan. Canaan is the promised land. Not Israel, not Jerusalem. Anyway, I would like Miss Vidal to do one thing for me in one of I call them lectures. I call them spiritual lectures. I'd like her to do one thing for us, Brother John. She keep mentioning Jans and how she call it, Nephilim. Jans and Nephilim. That's the first time I'm hearing those two words in her presentation. Jans and Nephilim. I wanted to explain in one of her discussions. Who are those two things? What are they? Where they came from? In relation to scriptures, in relation to the Old Testament, in relation to Adam. What are Nephilim? Are they pre-Adamite people or post-Adamite people? So I would like to really get into that. But let me just continue briefly before I stop and say that the contrast Ms. Vidal has made, Brother John, between what's going on in Parliament today and what has happened biblically is very, very significant. It's extremely significant. We are in a state of corruption. And corruption is not old to the Bible. The Bible itself has so many corrupted realities, from the so-called snake convincing Eve to eat from the apple, to Jesus being nailed on the cross for talking the truth, basically shedding his blood. That's the New Testament, folks, shedding his blood for the resurrection and salvation of those who believe in his teaching. However, listeners out there, anytime we're going to apply scripture to reality today, current reality, we must take into consideration the environment of today and the environment of the Bible. They are different environments. So we can only cross-pollinate. We can cross-pollinate what happened 4,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago to what's happening now. And it poses a serious problem for us. And that is because we are not being treated or told the truth. The only way we could move forward spiritually is for somebody, somewhere, some clergy, and I'll address that in 2 more minutes. Some clergy come and talk the truth to us like Miss Valentine is doing. Why is it, family out there, both immediate and extended. Why is it we have no other preacher, no other pastor speaking the gospel truth like Miss Vidal? Where else you hear any other pastor anywhere telling you that the knuckleheads that are running the state must be done away with? And I say done away with. I don't want them to resign. Done away with. This is what she's saying. This is what she contrasted in her opening statement on her theological understanding of things. That there's good, there's bad, but the level of misbehavior that is in parliament, and we'll get to this in a while, based on scriptures, it is us. Not no God that's going to get rid of Scared, get rid of Peter, get rid of Blackmore. It is us. We have to do it. If we are people of the Bible, if we are people of scripture, we must use the Bible. Like, they did liberation theology in South America. The pastors, you have to get together because the people listen to the pastor. Every Sunday morning, the pastors are listening to, priests have been listened to too. You have to use that Sunday morning, Saturday morning, Friday evening pulpit to liberate Dominica from the hands of those criminals. You cannot want to liberate me from sin, but yet you keeping me in slavery. It does not work like this. How can you want to liberate each and everybody who comes to your church from sin? You want them to resurrect and be in heaven, but you refuse to address the slavery they are actually experiencing in their lifestyle, in their lifetime. It is not good. Sorry about that. I'm getting a little warm now. All right. So it falls on us, but it also falls on the clergy. Very important. Slavery manifested itself in the New World because of the church. I'm open up because of religion. Slavery showed up in the New World. Africans being enslaved, local indigenous people have been enslaved on a Christian Bible. There's no getting away from it. You could go and just Google Christianity, and you see some of the downfalls of Christianity and slavery, current slavery, modern slavery, 13th century, 14th century, 15th century slavery is because of Christianity. It is because they say the curse of whom? The curse of Canaan, who is Ham's son. Ham who happened to see his father naked. And his father Noah who did what? Curse his son Canaan. And the Europeans have used this and used this and used this, and our own people are still supporting this very same explanation of slavery by keeping their very own people in subjection, in subjugation, in poverty. The very same folks who you hear preaching in the morning, God is good, God is great, they are the ones that are keeping the Dominicans in a state of oblivion, in a state of not understanding their particular reality as it relates to scriptures. So I'd like just not Miss Vidal, Brother John, I'm summing up, not just Miss Vidal, but the rest of the pastors, the rest of the priests in the society to come and tell us the truth. How can you tolerate a government that is so corrupted, yet you want to free me from sin? Because your corruption, what you're supporting, is sin. Brother John?
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I feel very passionate about this message tonight. All right, since you have spent quite a bit of time on it, and we're trying to catch up with time, I'll be very brief. Just 2 minutes. Just make a few brief comments on the message. First of all, let me say that Mrs. Valentine is in tune. by her condemnation to Levi Peter's statement in Parliament. And I'm hoping that many more women will come out and condemn it as well. Okay, because I think it is very critical that women come out there and speak out against this foolish statement by Levi Peter. She also spoke about rescuing Dominica and made a few reasons why we should rescue Dominica. Spoke of the increase in crime, the electricity crisis, electoral reform, high unemployment and poverty. All of these are reasons why we should come together now and rescue our country, and that is so timely. I hope people out there are listening and they are ready to do just that. And towards the end, she also encouraged us to get ready, inclusive of the diasporans, get ready to rebuild Dominica. And so that's a call out there for you, the diasporans and locals alike, to get ready to rebuild our lovely country. First of all, we must rescue the country and then rebuild it for the future. All right, so this few comments, I will end it right there. All right, it's now 6:42. What's next on the agenda? I think we're supposed to have a little discussion on electoral reform, but it's just a brief comment. It's a young guy who took on his own. I am not sure if I should call his name, so I'll leave the name for now. And he actually did an unofficial survey. He actually paid a young lady to go around and do an unofficial survey, and he sent it to Kyrie. Well, I can call his name because I saw he sent it to Kyrie FM and Q95, the hot seat, Matt. So his general name is Matthias Alexander, a private citizen. And he just attached a copy of the results of an unofficial survey of voting age Dominicans on what I thought was a distillation of the most pertinent and contentious issues vented during the 2 weeks of Byron's electoral reform consultations. So the purpose of this unofficial survey was to, in a certain measure, remedy what I thought was a consultative exercise that seemed somewhat clustered and exclusory to the less vocal. I also meant to capture the views of the common folk on the streets from a diverse spectrum as possible. The survey was conducted on Tuesday, August 5th, 2023, by one interviewer with 38 sampling respondents, and was centered in the city of Roseau. The centers of concentration were the Maho/St. Joseph bus stop area, the Portsmouth Castlebruce bus stop area, the Roseau Market, the Calilago Territory bus stop, the Soufriere bus stop, Old Market area, Emsall, Bath Estate bus stop, the Grand Four bus stop, and sporadic stops between each of the centers. So that is what he did. They had a sample of 38, and just to speed up, to summarize, there are 21 male, 17 female, that's total 38. And one of the questions were, in your opinion, which card should the electoral office issue for voting? 15% said voter ID card, 11 said national ID, and 12% said national ID card with voter ID information. We asked whether there should be photo identification. 14 said yes. 18 said both photo and fingerprint. 5% said photo, no fingerprint. And 1% said fingerprint ID only. Said which one of the two situations would you see as a corrupt intent? Transporting someone from another country to vote in our local elections. 19 said that would be a corrupt intent. 3, transporting someone from one village to another village to vote where he or she is registered. 3% said that would be corrupt, and 16 said none of the above. He's also asking the question, after the consultation, should the government officials or an independent committee be responsible for submitting the final recommendations to Parliament? And 11% said government officials should submit it, and 27% said independent committee should submit the recommendations to Parliament. So, nice job, my brother Matthias. Good job. We can have a further discussion on it, but the last part is of interest to me, And it's something I myself thought of as well. Because remember we had that back and forth with the ID card, progress ID card, and all of that. And you had some people for and against. At the end of the day, who really decides what is taken to Parliament? Is it the government officials? Is it a combination of the stakeholders? Is it an independent committee? And that's one of the questions that they've asked. Should there be an independent committee to decide what recommendations we take to Parliament?
Well, yeah, I'm with you on this. I think it, how should I say it? It should be an independent committee.
I think so
that
too.
I feel so. The question is, how real is this?
Yeah.
In our current situation, our current environment, will Skeleton, allow that to happen if we do not enforce it?
Right.
Right. The other thing with this, I have to say that Dominic, we haven't got an opinion culture. He's really taking a poll, Brother John. It's a poll, what you call a poll.
Yeah.
Right, based on opinion X, Y, and Z. So we're not an opinion culture, and it is very good to see somebody. After all, I remember one of the last ones it was done by Alex Bruno,
Yes, yeah.
for one of the 2 elections back or 3 elections back. And he came up with some kind of results which did not materialize based on the opinions he showed in his research or his understanding. But it is very, very good that here you have somebody, which is a young guy, you're saying, who realized that our culture is not an opinion culture in the form of a poll, but yet he's taking that risk to go out there.
Yeah.
Right, and create a poll that gives us an understanding, and that's what the poll does. It's a snapshot in time.
In time, yeah.
It's just a snapshot in time. It gives us an understanding as to what the majority thinks on an opinion basis. Now, there are 2 things there that struck me. When the question was asked, would you like a voter's ID card or a national ID card?
Right.
You have 2 percentages there. It's very interesting. That's the first time I'm hearing this or seeing this. You have one.
More persons voted for ID
a
card,
dual
ID card.
for a dual, and then you have a dual card.
Yeah.
With both voter information and what and
voter ID card 15.
Yeah.
National ID 11 and national ID card with voter ID information 12.
So that's 15 and 12. You have to add both of them together. You understand where I'm coming from?
Right.
Because it's a voter ID card, but you have a
national ID card with voter ID.
With voter IDs, and you add those 2 percentages together.
ID card,
it's a voter ID card. Exactly.
So basically, more persons want a
voter ID card, even if it has an element, an element of national something in it. But more people would like a voter's ID card.
But it suits the purpose of voting.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is what the opinion does. This is what the polling does. This gives you a snapshot that you could even set, policy on. Now, as to taking it to whoever you're going to take it to, right, to deliver it to Parliament is very, very critical. It's extremely critical.
It also sends to the chief officer as well.
Right. Okay. So this is something that we have to follow up on.
Also, it's that the areas, it's a small sample of 48, but the areas, you have Mahu bus stop, St. Joe, Portsmouth, Cassie Bruce bus stop, the Kalinago territory, Soufriere. So it might be a small sampling, but it's a wide cross section. Because persons going to these areas, it's always St. Joe, Mahu. So I get 1 or 2 from St. Joseph, 1 from Mahu, I get 1 or 2 from Kalinago and so on. So it's wide.
But he could extend it going forward. It can be extended, right? But the critical thing is, here you have information now on a polling basis that decisions could be made on.
Yeah.
Okay, irrespective of the sample, how small it is.
All right, folks, it's now 6:50, so we're heading towards the 7 o'clock hour, and we expect our guest, Mr. Lander, to be with us, and we also have to link up with Maslin Edwards, so we'll do that in a while. So the next item we have there is really discussion on the economy. So let me just have a little music, take 1 or 2 calls, and then we'll head into that area of discussion on the economy, and the last discussion will be that of the presidential nominee. All right, so let's take a little musical break with a couple calls while we await our guests, and we hook up with Martin as well.
I just call him the glamour boy from Yarrow. This man say we having some problems with democracy. He said they're making it a mockery. The name of the song, Mockery of the Democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hand together? Let's welcome Winston Peters, Gypsy. What is democracy? And to whom is it directed? Suspend the constitution, lawlessness out of hand. And under this constitution, there's no proper prosecution. It look like this constitution is not for the law-abiding man. Only criminals and crooks to get them off of the hook. Good people must have no fun. They have to be on the run, ducking from bandits, bullets and guns. While they're making a mockery of democracy, violating the law with impunity, and some legal entity defend them with alacrity, while they're making a mockery of democracy. Oh my! Oh, 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 oh. Well, oh, oh, oh. Hey, Amnesty International should be disbanded immediately, or charge them all as accomplices for every crime in every country. Cause it look like their only mission is to see the guilty go free, while the victim rights go to waste. Nobody to plead their case. How long would we stand and see democracy going crazy? Oh, how unjust justice is made to be.
I was supposed to make a small correction to Mrs. Vidal's spiritual message. She said earlier, I want to quote Jeremiah chapter 51. I'm sorry, 31. And it was meant to be Jeremiah chapter 51. So for you, the Bible scholars, I know you must be saying similar error. So the correction is Jeremiah chapter 51 and not chapter 31.
Oh my, we making a mockery of democracy, violating the law with impunity, and them legal entity, even them with alacrity, while we making a mockery of democracy. And you see, oh, 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 oh. Going. Whoa, yo, 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 yo. Please don't execute the criminals if they've been on death row too long. That's cruel, unusual punishment. Society shouldn't commit this wrong. You're violating their human rights. You're sure to hear some lawyers say, but the victim rights are lost. Why they say justice take its course? Look like them criminals is boss. The guilty rights stay in store, protected under due course of the law.
All right, folks, before Mr. Lander comes, he's on his way, we have a very powerful message, very short, from one of our brothers, CCM. I did not ask him whether or not I could call his name, but those of you who know his voice, you will know who's speaking. And yes, so let us take a little listen to our brother here and what he have to say. All right, please take a listen at this time.
message is contained in Isaiah 5:20.
Oh no, sorry. Wrong message. Let's go this time.
Go down that road, you know. But I'm not surprised at all because that's their modus operandi. You remember how they treated Monel John Baptist in the House, the opposition senator from St. Joseph. They had a field day with her, insulting her. And the deceased speaker never did anything about that. She enjoyed the exchange. Likewise, Isaac, you remember Reggie Austri called the same Kalinago Queen, Honorable Sanford, a drunk in the House, in Parliament, referred to her as a drunk. And Isaac did nothing about it. That wasn't imputing improper motives to him. And similarly, look, this guy, this English trained, whatever he is calling the lady a drumstick, referring to the lady as a drumstick. And Isaac is there, sit down with him, he was sleeping. So that's your modus operandi. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. And Levi Peter, trained in England, he knows what went on in the House 2 days ago could never have, what he like to say, seen the light of day in the House of Commons in England. A must has to be passed. I mean, you cannot have a sitting permanent secretary in the English administrative system less than 24 hours being nominated to any post of influence in the governance sector. It's crazy. He knows that. They had no regard for public service rules and regulations, procedures. They had no regards to the Constitution. Overnight, a lady was transplanted from a post of permanent secretary into a nomination for the president, the head of state, and Levi Peter. For Levi Peter, that is best practice. That's good governance. That is subtle practice. That is he's setting a bad precedence, and he has an attorney general should have stood up and advised the government otherwise. Secondly, the speaker had no right to allow that thing to end up as a debate. It wasn't a motion that was moved, you know. It was an objection filed by Senator Douglas. What the speaker had to do was to refer to the Constitution and see what the Constitution says about that. And the Constitution clearly says that it is not for the Parliament to call the case. I had the Prime Minister asking him for evidence that he didn't have to produce evidence. Sean didn't have to produce evidence. That is not for the Parliament to decide. That is for the court to decide once the objection is filed. But you know, it's a morass of there's a dotishness. A set of dotish people out inside there. Boy, listen, boy, Dominica in trouble. All of them should go. Levi Peter should resign. All of them should resign. All of them should just clear the Parliament and make fresh blood come inside there and give the country proper leadership, proper direction, proper management for Dominica to survive. Under those guys, Dominica just deteriorating to zero.
All right, folks, you heard it. That's one of our brothers from CCM. He's actually a member of the Concerned Citizens Movement, and you heard his take on that Levi Peter utterances in Parliament. I believe most people are disappointed with Levi, including Liberites. The Liberites won't talk because if they talk, they're going to, lose their little handout and little setup from Scaro. So I didn't expect them to call and criticize openly, but they're talking to their friends one-on-one on the roadside, in the bars, and so on. It's not going on well. It's not going on well at all. All right, folks, it's now 7 o'clock, and we are going to Marcelin on. Not that I'm not seeing her on as yet. Marcelin is supposed to join us as well, and Mr. Landa is on his way.
He said they're making it a mockery. The name of the song, Mockery of the Democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hand together? Let's welcome Winston Peters, Gypsy.
What is democracy? And to whom is it directed? Whoa, oh, 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 oh. constitution, lawlessness out of hand. And under this constitution, there's no proper prosecution. It look like this constitution is not for the law-abiding man. Only
Good evening, caller. You're right on cue.
Good evening, Brother John. Good evening, Brother Zah.
Hey,
Good
good
evening,
evening.
Mr.
What's
Lee.
up?
How you doing?
Good, not bad.
All right, nice.
Good.
I listened to the poll. It was a good effort, but I think the population was kind of biased in a way because if you notice, they are centered mainly around the south. I didn't hear anything from the west coast, the east coast, the north, particularly. So basically, I didn't hear any bus stop or people from, let's say, Salisbury, Marigot, Portsmouth.
Yeah, bus stop, St. Joseph, Mawo bus stop.
Yeah, he stopped at
The
St.
Kalinago bus stop, Soufriere,
Kalinago,
Scotted
Soufriere.
bus stop.
Oh, yes, the Kalinago bus stop was there, but they are all constituencies that are, well, Liberty supporters. So I would think that
You're breaking up, hello? Yes, hello? Hello?
Mr. Lee, are you there?
I think we lose him.
here.
Yeah, okay,
all right.
go ahead. But you're breaking up, though.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry about it. Let me just see here. Okay.
You're coming in and out, in and out.
The whole idea, I think, is that basically, I'm not being critical. I think it was a good
attempt.
Mm-hmm.
I consider it a good effort. However, in my view, and when I do sampling, that sort of stuff, but I think if you have your sample about Soufriere, Roseau, Kalinago territory.
Yeah, Soufriere, Old Market area, Emzor, Buffet State, Grand Football Stop.
Right. So basically, we have a predominantly population that is relatively represented by the administrations.
Well, as we speak, most of the constituencies
19 of them, 19 of the constituencies.
19.
You only have to go to 2 if you want anything else. You understand what we're saying, Lo?
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's just my observation.
Yeah, no problem.
Somebody who does statistics.
Well, what I would encourage is that he continues but broaden, which is what you're saying. But whether if he broadens or not, he'll still get into administration constituencies because they have 19 constituencies.
Yes, you would, but you would have a broader.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. Yes, I agree 100%. It would be much wider, and not just because it is administration constituencies. People will not talk the truth behind the scene.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you on that basis. I agree where you're coming from. That it is not an open subject on radio and what have you. So therefore, people will feel freer to talk to you.
Right.
Exactly. All right.
All right, my brother.
No problem.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. Okay. We'll discuss the economy with Mr. Lander. But so before he comes in, I think it has to do with the economy, of course. And that's something that we did in the past where we looked at a number of businesses that have closed their doors, shut down over the last 20 years or so. And this in itself is an indicator as to how bad the economy is doing. All right, I'm going to call them quickly. When it comes in, I could just probably take a hold. We had the Ariel Trump, Caribbean Apparel, we had the Rituals, Portsmouth and Roseau, we had Subway, and we're talking about businesses that shut down, closed their doors. Okay, no business. People were at their home under this Labour Party administration. You had this Subway, both in Portsmouth and Roseau, closed down. Coca-Cola, bottling plants, Castaways, Crazy Coconut, their very own, Crazy. Royal Bazaar, Best Buy, Laro Club, Mouse Hole Stackett, Moston Trading, Madesh Wholesale, Anthony Cement, West Coast, Liblan's Boutique, Bryson Agencies, Winner Cardboard Factory, Raffle Furniture, Big Bang Lottery, Floral Gardens, that's the OJ's place up at Concord, Frontline, right there in Roseau, The Cove, Venus Guest House, Paperbacks, Benjo Simmers, Paul's Pastoroni, Port of Call, Springfield Guest House, Colgate Palmolive, Tropicraft, KFC Portsmouth, Breezy Mat, Lion River Hotel, Cicero Hotel, Dapex, Grand Bazaar. We had Cots in Marigot and Cots in Portsmouth, Lara Creole, Eric's Bakery, Mawson's Travel, Antilles Cement, Castle Comfort, Variety Foods, Immense Electrical Shop, Bijou Turner, Marge Enterprises, Candle Industries, Gifts and Things, United Brothers, Roseau, Pizzeria, The Zone Nightclub and Gym, CB's, Superhoods Products, Paul's Pastoroni, Blues Agro Industry, Period of Fashion, Hidden Supermarket. Of course, we had a few businesses that replaced them, like Hidden to have 7-Eleven. So there are a few cases like that. But this actually got closed down, shut down under the party. You have the NBD on Independent Street, that was replaced by a $3 store. You have Dominican Coconut Products. So all these are businesses that got shut down. We also have Body Type Dominica at Fort Young, Bello, Evergreen. Well, Evergreen is back up now, but it was down for some time. Anchorage Hotel is back up now. Ross University, Scotia Bank, a branch at Scotia Bank at Portsmouth. The Kubuli Factory, the Royal Garments at Kinfield, that's the textile industry. Guyav Restaurants. So all of these businesses shut down on the Labour Party. Of course,
Domino Pizza, you mentioned. We had a Domino Pizza in Dominica.
Domino?
Nassif, yeah.
On the last 20 years?
Yeah.
I'm not sure of that.
Okay.
It could have been before.
They just used to be over by opposite tobacco factory there. They shut down. Okay. They have a little parts place there now.
I mean, there are many. It's many more, though. That's
many more.
That's
just a short list. Okay.
Yeah, man. Right. And of course, we have a few replacements, a few Chinese stores here and there. But the real businesses that we had run by the locals are all
Brother John,
shut down.
Not a few Chinese stores.
Quite a bit.
We have quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. But go ahead. Yes.
Replace this.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
Businesses that was making money and had so many persons employed. Now we also have a number of projects that started and failed. It failed either partially or it is not functional under the Dominican Labour Party, like the night landing at Melvin Hall. That is partially. It's not full time. We have the coffee factory that failed. The Moroccan Hotel that failed. Londonderry Tissue Culture Facility failed. Stock Farm Netball Stadium failed. Castlebruce Reunion Center failed. Castlebruce Irrigation Project failed. Coconut propagation and missing operation at Marigot failed. Calibishi Irrigation Project failed. Renovation of Lapland Sports Center failed. Vertical dialysis cassava processing plants failed. The abattoir partially. Rosalie Piditsu Freya Link Road failed. Geothermal mega plant failed. Yes, failed. Port Michel Sea Defense partially. They did it up to a certain point in Port Michel, and the actual village itself is unprotected. And of course, we have our nurses, our doctors, and so on. All of these people have left Dominica. A number of them have left Dominica. So we've actually had a brain drain in the country. Yeah. We had agriculture, cooperatives, teachers, lawyers, and many other professionals that left the country. Like I said, serious brain drain. And most importantly, our democracy, our integrity, accountability, transparency, all of these are sliding away from us. Should I say slowly or rapidly? Or it's gone already?
It has slid.
It's gone.
It has slid away.
What we have now is a growing dictatorship. Poor governance. A declining economy. As a matter of fact, we have had like 9 recessions,
9 recessions
over the last 20 years. 9. One of the good days, we will have that discussion. We'll tell you what year,
what a recession is, and
we'll go in detail as to
and the effects of the recession on the economy.
But we've actually had 9 in the last 20 years. We've also had increases in social security contributions in order to sustain the scheme. At one point, Social Security was like 3%, 3% the employees' contribution. Now we're up to, I think, 6.50%. So that has increased over the years, right? Our taxes, Social Security, cost of living, everything is going up, but the salaries is 0%, 1%, 2%, and so on. So that in itself cannot move the economy.
Your category you should include to this is businesses that have the appearance of success. We have quite a few hotels in Dominica that look like they're succeeding, but they are being heavily subsidized.
Yep.
And you know a few, I know a few. I won't mention any at this point.
Oh, yes.
But there's quite a few of them that look like they are functioning. But deep down, if a monthly subsidy does not come in from the public sector, from government, them men cannot pay their mortgages.
Indeed.
It's problem. Serious problem.
And we can also compare the poverty rates to other sister islands,
right,
and our unemployment rates,
yes,
our minimum wage,
purchasing
the
power,
taxes,
yeah,
in the same countries, our
right,
debt to GDP ratio. I mean, if you have to look at all of these things, it will just tell you how miserable
we are one of the poorest. No, we are one of the poorest countries in there. Yes,
we are doing very bad.
Very bad.
We are doing badly. For example, we have Dominica's poverty rate, for example, right? In Dominica in 2022, 28.8%. Antigua, 18%. St. Kitts, 20%. St. Lucia, 19.8%. So Dominica is topping the list as it relates to the poverty rate. Let's look at the unemployment rate. Dominica again tops that list of 23%. Antigua is all the way down, 13.7%. St. Kitts is only 5.3%. St. Lucia is 17.3%. You understand? So we are topping the list as it relates to poverty. We are topping the list as it relates to unemployment. And we are also in the bottom as it relates to the minimum wage in Dominica. In Antigua, it is $9 per hour. In St. Kitts, it is $9 per hour. In Dominica, it is $7.50 per hour. So how wrong you look at it, it tells you that the economy of Dominica is doing badly. We are badly off. We're topping the poverty, we're topping the unemployment. Our minimum wage is like low. Talk about GDP, debt to GDP. I mean that one is just the debt to GDP ratio in Dominica 2022 was 104.79%. Antigua is 90.56. St. Lucia is 83.48. St. Kitts is the lowest among the islands that I call it, 64.75%. So again, it tells you how bad we are doing. So folks, I will stop here. I was just giving you some stats while we're waiting for our guests.
Sister Maslin is on.
Oh, she's on as well. Okay.
Maslin, you could hear us?
Yes, of course I can. Can you
hear
on this?
Yes, I can. Can you
unmute? Yes.
Can
you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
All right, great.
Okay. We'll be through shortly. Sister Maslin, thanks for coming in. We did make the announcement that you're going to be with us this evening. I know persons out there love to listen to you, and they must be tuned in and ready to listen to our dear sister Maslin Edwards out there.
You.
All right, folks. So I will stop there for now, since I have the more qualified persons in that field to talk about the economy, in the person of Ronald Lander and, of course, Maslin Edwards. So let me put on our sister for a few minutes before we have Ronald comment. Sister Maslin, go ahead, please. We are basically talking about the economy tonight, like I told you before. I just give some stats, and I know you probably have even more information than you need to share with the public.
Well, a pleasant good afternoon, and thank you, Zah and John. Thank you for having me on with you guys. And
Yes.
At one point, I did not even remember.
You
So
actually forgot us?
not really, but I have been so busy all week.
Oh, I see, I see. Mhm.
And so I was actually scrumming.
Uh-huh.
So I just want to say a pleasant good evening to you guys. A pleasant good evening to all your Facebook listeners, Q95 listeners, both by social media and radio. I want to say good evening to all Dominicans and of course my neighbors in the diaspora. Pleasant good evening to every one of you. And as I said, it's always good to have the diaspora connected. And, because it is all good that we share different views, different opinions coming from different areas. So, yes, I bring warm greetings to you guys, although it has started getting cold. But I bring warm greetings from my little nook in here in New Jersey.
Uh,
And I am hoping that it gets across to everyone, and everyone is in good spirit in spite of all what we have been hearing. And sometimes I wonder what is left, for these guys to do to Dominica. But nonetheless, we still have to continue fighting. We still have to continue standing for Dominica, because we can't just go quietly and into the shadows and just allow these people to be, because our voice is one of the is something that should be heard, and we should always keep fighting for Dominica, because we can't Dominica is already in a muted state of agony, and we have to talk up for our mother country, our motherland, because it's the right thing to do. And some consider it to be making trouble, but of course, all good trouble, all trouble for civic wise and country is good trouble. And hmm, Dominica, as I said, in the last time I was on, that Dominica is a failed country, and it's not only in the economy has failed, but the whole healthcare system has failed. Everything, our democracy is now in tatters. uh, the Constitution itself, based on what we see happening to our Constitution, these people have no regard for the Constitution anymore. And John, you said that Dominica seemed to be a growing dictatorship. I
mhm.
think Dominica
It is.
is a full dictatorship, because from
Mhm.
what I can see is that these guys are running a dictatorship within the lines of our democracy, and that is the worst form of dictatorship there can be. And it just makes you feel that you have a little freedom, but the little freedom you have is to do what? And based on everything that we are seeing unfolding, look at what happened in Parliament 2 days ago, and it is appalling to see that something so sacred as the nomination of the president, which is the highest office in our land, had to be brought to that type of disregard for democracy, disregard for the principles, disregard for respect, disregard for our constitution. And when we see what is coming out from the parliament, it is cause for concern. It is cause to take action. We can just no longer sit and talk, but it's time for us to think of what form of actions we're going to take, because apparently all this talking is falling on deaf ears. So there comes a time when we have to act. Now, we were talking about you guys were talking about the economy, and but how is this going to be fixed? The only way we can fix this economy can be fixed is getting this government, this quasi dictatorship, out of office, because it's not that they do not have the willpower to work. It's just that they're working for themselves. They're not working for the country and its people. And when this prime minister can tell us that 214 million 762,689.41 was exported from our country into other countries. And he said that Dominica is doing well. There are jobs in the country. But if Dominica is doing well, I don't think it's the Dominican people who are, well, native Dominicans who are sending out those monies through Western unions to their families abroad. Those are people who come into Dominica, non-Dominican nationals, who are making all of those monies and exporting it to their countries. Now, what is Dominica getting? So if there's no turnover for the country, then how are the businesses going to to succeed? Because those businesses are operating in a failing economy. And if there's not enough turnover, of course, those businesses have to shut down. Yeah, because who is going to buy? There's no trade, there's no turnover. They're operating in a lethargic economy. No one, they have no power. And it's not by accident those businesses are shutting down. Sometimes I think it's through malicious intent, because this man, has studied well, how he can set up his dictatorship in Dominica and impose his will on the Dominican people. Look at the government. Look at what he has in parliament. This is a sham parliament that's there. At the end of the day, he is the chief executioner in the parliament. So even if he has all those little figureheads in there, he takes all of the decisions. So he is still in charge. This is a full dictatorship. They cannot make decisions on their own. They cannot stand up to him and say, my constituents elected me to represent them. So this is what I'm going to do. It's what he wants. So they're actually serving him and not the people of Dominica. And this is just a sad day for Dominica,
Mm-hmm.
because back in the day, the small business enterprise was sufficiently thriving in Dominica. And you talk about coconut products. Take, for example, Carl Nassif. When Carl Nassif left his job as a pilot and he came back to establish business after his studies as a chemical engineering, after his studies, he came back to Dominica and established business in Dominica. And that was when Dominica coconut products started thriving. And then you find that all the people were benefiting, the copra farmers. you know I remember back in the day, copra was the big thing. And they would yeah, farmers would sell their coconuts, because m- almost every farm, there were coconuts planted. And the people would, when you go to DCP, you would see bags and bags and bags of copra. And they had a big establishment. There were so many people working at DCP. And this is how the small copra vendors, or the copra farmers, they made their monies. When you came from the country, y- you felt that you were coming from somewhere that was self-sufficient, that was financially independent. Because all the farmers back then, look at the farmers back then, they had the big houses, they had their vehicles, they would buy their vehicles cash. And it, they were successful. But in today's day, our farmers have become very dependent. They don't even have roads to go to their farms, because after the hurricanes, those roads were not rehabilitated. Even the grants that came in for the farmers, they did not receive it. So when the farming industry is down, then of course, because Dominica's main economy is agriculture. It was agriculture then, and today is the main economy should be still be agriculture. It's not passports. But these lazy fellas, those bums, they decided to make a quick buck, like some drug dealers. That is how drug dealers operate. And and you find that they killed agriculture, because they went into a new industry, which is the passport industry. Now the bomb fuel is all drying up. But what has the passport, the CBI done for Dominica? It has only done well for these passport peddlers and not the country. So you find 90% of Dominicans they can't make ends meet. It's only the 10%, it's only the 10% who are passport vendors who are succeeding in Dominica. And when you look at the mansions and the establishments and what have you, it looks like they're operating in a different economy. They are operating in a Dubai economy in Dominica, while the rest of Dominica are operating in the Dominican economy they have created to bring Dominicans poor and mendicant. And I don't see our country doing better. I see our country on a steady decline. It is not going to get better after 20 years with these guys in office because they're just lazy, they're myopic, and they have no plans for country. When you have a group of people who are so disrespectful, and going back to what happened in Parliament, where Annette Sanford was referred to in that derogatory manner, in a derogatory name by the Attorney General, it tells you why Dominica is in that situation. It tells you why so many children are abused sexually, why they are molested by these grown men, because they have no regard for female, they have no regard for women. It tells you that they can do anything in Dominica. Women are being abused since this regime got into our office, into our noble office in Dominica. Let's go back to the statistics and see how many women that have been murdered under their watch. Let's go back to the statistics to see how many women have lost their babies at the hospital. And all of those things are affecting women because of these people. Look, let us go back to the statistics to see how many women have turned into collateral because for things that they cannot do without, just to meet their basic needs. We heard this representative from Portsmouth saying that women had to come and go down on their knees and beg and cry for them to get shelter for themselves and their children. Look at the young girls who went to study, and that is just women under attack again. They went to study and their tuition was not paid. Look at the level of stress. They had to be kicked out from the university because their tuition was not paid. How many of these young children, these young girls, have already turned into collateral just to get a scholarship to go into university, and they could not even pay the
All right, Maslin. I know you have lots more to say, but we
Yes,
have Ron there, and Ron is also eager to
yes.
bring out some information that you have prepared for us this evening. So you will come back in, but let us allow Ron to have a piece as well. Thank you very much.
Hello, good night, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back again tonight. It is high quality program. And when I was here the last time, what I did is I put forward a situation in 2000, where Dominica was in 2000, and where Dominica is today. And I look at the productive sectors. I looked at agriculture, I look at agro-processing, I look at tourism, I look at areas where you're dealing with modern technology, communication technology. And I saw where we were in 2000 and what happened in 2003, the deterioration that happened in 2003. With our agriculture, we were exporting agriculture in 2000. In 2023, we are not exporting anything at all. Dexia is doing something, but very minimal. We look at agro-processing, where we had DCP, where we had Bello, and I heard something about Bello operating now in Miami and so on, and other entities, Benjo and other entities and Banis Farms, and there were other entities operating, very operating and adding value and exporting. Over a 23-year period, that has totally deteriorated. Where we are today, we're in our agricultural industry. We've got Haitians dominating our agriculture for domestic consumption over fertilizing, cutting down our tree products, and we're not seeing any exportation in that area. We're looking at agro-processing. We don't have any agro-processors now. That has totally disappeared. We look at the communication and information technology area, where we're working on something to develop that particular that's an area that's very important for the young people. That has totally disappeared. So what has been happening in Dominica? I compared and contrast. I gave all the details. And what has been happening? To develop a small open economy, there are two approaches. Either you organize yourself to export goods and services, or you invite people in to consume goods and services. In Dominica right now, we are not exporting any goods and services. Nothing in agriculture, nothing in agro-processing, nothing in information and communication technology. You see situations right now where what we are exporting is money. Marceledos made mention of what the Prime Minister spoke about of the over 200 million going out. But in agriculture, who is dominating agriculture right now in Dominica? Before 2007, Dominicans dominated agriculture. We were agricultural persons. We had a thriving agricultural industry. We had vehicles and vehicles under the port to deliver bananas, and that was cross developing other areas like plantains and ground provisions, and we were exporting. But now we are not exporting little or no agricultural products. I must commend Dexia for marginally exporting some products. But outside of that, we've got our Haitian friends who are over chemicalizing, over fertilizing, and providing that product to Dominicans under no supervision. All our tree crops are being cut down, and nobody surveys that area. We look at the construction area where the Chinese and other Caribbean people have come in and dominated construction. So construction, which was supposed to have a short-term positive impact on our economy, is having a negative impact because the people involved in construction are not Dominicans. Historically, Dominicans were involved in construction. And because they were involved in construction and were spending money in Dominica, there was a multiplier effect and the money was turning around in Dominica. But that's no longer happening. We look at the wholesale and retail trade. The wholesale and retail trade is now dominated by the Chinese. Chinese have fallen in love in Dominica. What about Dominica Chinese love so much? What about in Wesley, in Roseau? Chinese are dominated. And we see Dominicans by the roadside trying to struggle to make a dollar. It's very, very an area that we need to pay attention to. We look at tourism. What has happened to tourism? Tourism, we were doing very well in tourism in terms of the cruise ship arrivals, although in that facilities. We're in the range of 200,000 in 2000. We're still in that range in 2020 and 2023. Compare and contrast us with a smaller jurisdiction like St. Kitts. Yeah. St. Kitts have built Port Zante, and St. Kitts have moved from 200,000 to 1 million visitors. A million. And St. Kitts doesn't have nothing like Dominica. That's correct. What's happening? I've been hearing some talk still about the marina. What's happening about the marina? What's happening with the marina at least in Portsmouth? We have our friends who built a hotel in Portsmouth in an area that is sinking. You may help me, the name of that hotel in Portsmouth where the hotel is sinking. Morocco. The Morocco. Our Moroccan friends, because we give them some support in Africa, they decide they want to build a hotel for us. The people from Portsmouth should say clearly to the government where they want to build the hotel is not a proper area. Eckhart was there for how many years? And Eckhart built small facilities in there because that's a sinking area. You went in there and you built a hotel and it's sinking and nothing can happen there. Why didn't you build a marina? I mean, the Minister of Tourism talking about marina. We need to move forward in developing a marina in Dominica. If we build a marina in Dominica, we can attract more persons with the yachting industry. They come in and they spend money in Dominica. They go to our hotels. They buy goods and services in Dominica. And Dominica can move forward in that area. You look at Stayover. Stayover stagnated. Stayover in Dominica has been in the 70, 80,000 range for the longest while. And what has happened? Recently, you know about a new access facility, you have a new airport in Wesley. Interestingly, in another area of my life, I was at the National Development Corporation, and in 3 years, we did all the designs, all the projects for an airport, using standard and planning to do everything. And we are at the financing stage to get the airport going. And whilst the guys are trying to build a new airport in Wesley, they're expanding the airport in Melville Hall. Where's the development plan? What are we doing? What are we doing? And you see places like Fort Young is getting going again, is struggling. Gary Hotel. What happened to Gary Hotel? Gary Hotel is non-functional. Anchorage Hotel, Evergreen. Recently, we had the Indian cricketers in Dominica, and the Indian cricketers had to stay in Intercontinental all the way in Portsmouth and drive to Roseau to play cricket. In some instances, players were sick. What about our facilities in Roseau? We need to look at that in a very creative way. Government has to focus on two major areas. Government has been very laissez-faire in economic development. Laissez-faire economics is an area where you sit back and you allow things to happen. And this is an outdated style of economic management. It's a poor style of economic management. Because of that, what we've been seeing is exploitation of all the value added. You want value added to redound to development of your country. So if you have value added being exported through agriculture, through retail and wholesale, through Dominicans on the roadside now. You have retail and wholesale activities happening in Dominica and Dominicans on the roadside. And consequently, you have got your banks closing down. You've got businesses closing down. You've got your construction industry, which is supposed to be stimulating in a short-term basis of your economy, is being dominated by what Chinese. You find a situation where a guy who is selling our passports have decided that he's going to get involved in the development of real estate in Dominica. And he does all the design out of Dominica. He does all the contractual arrangements out of Dominica. He brings in Chinese to do the work in Dominica. The work is being done in Dominica, which is inferior work, and all the money goes out of Dominica. How can we develop in this particular way? This is very, very important. Very, very, very important. Because if you're exporting your value added, you're not giving a chance for the multiplier effect to take place in Dominica. And this is very, very critical. We've got to find a way of maximizing the multiplier effect in Dominica, where whatever value is added in Dominica, persons are able to transform it, hold it, and build it in Dominica. If that's not happening in Dominica, we are in a very, very critical stage. Very critical stage. And based on the analysis that I did the last time, where I looked at what happened in 2000 and what's happening in 2023, what I have been able to deduce from that analysis, especially one of the most governing factors is that we had discretionary working capital. We had a lot of money in circulation, starting from Gaddafi down to Chavez. Chavez was in love in Dominica. I'm not too sure who Chavez was in love with, but Chavez was in love in Dominica. And Chavez was making a lot of resources available to Dominica. And thereafter, we got into CBI funds. A lot of CBI money was in circulation in Dominica. There's a question about $9 million that has gone astray. Sorry, thank you. $9 billion that has gone astray. And nobody from the government side, not the financial secretary, not the Ministry of Finance, has come forward and said, look, this is the accounting and $9 billion have not gone astray. We need our government officials to give an account of the $9 billion because that's a lot of money. Because if that money had come into Dominica and had gone into circulation in Dominica, Dominica would be bubbling.
Booming, man.
Dominica would be booming.
Yeah, man.
All industries, agriculture, agro-processing, a water industry, DCP, all this would be booming. But that money has disappeared. So I am forced to deduce that because of that poor management of the resources of the country, Dominica is in a danger zone. The political directorate has secured limitations of politicians because our politicians are so limited. Our politicians are so limited. You look at the structure in the Freedom Party, where you had Eugenia Charles, you had Charles Maynard, and you had Allen. Those three fellas were the main decision makers. When the United Party took over, the three fellas who were making decisions were Edison James, then you had Norris Prevost, and you had my boy Timothy. My boy Timothy, I visit him very frequently. I hope he gets very well very soon. This guy has made a big contribution to Dominica, and this is a guy I pay a lot of attention to. So these three guys were involved in the management of the economy. When the Labour Party took over a period of time, you had our Prime Minister, Skerrit. What is Skerrit training? English and psychology. And then he had a police officer, Blackmore, and he had an office attendant, the guy from Portsmouth. What did you expect from the management of the country? As a consequence, our management of the country has deteriorated significantly. Our political directorate has severe limitations. And consequently, over a 2023 period, they have brought in persons around them with more limitations. Consequently, our country is suffering. Our economy is deteriorating. We're not producing. We're not transforming. And you see situations where skilled persons have got involved in government. You see an engineer who's got involved in government, and that engineer is a minister of health. How could you make an engineer minister of health? You put the engineer in the area because the situation that applies, the minister is the CEO, the permanent secretary is the COO. The CEO is the chief executive officer. The permanent secretary is the chief operating officer. And then you have technical people along with them. So if the CEO and the COO is trained in a particular area, they can speak the language of their people, their technical language of the people in the ministry. So when you take an engineer and you put in the Ministry of Health, what language can he talk to the people in the Ministry of Health? Recently, I heard there was a strike. Some young doctors decided that they didn't want to work. And I heard the Ministry of Health, the Minister of Health speaking. And the guy spoke as if he was reading a script. So unfortunate. And then you got a guy who is trained in health, very good in health, very solid in health. I have a lot of confidence in him, in his training in health. He is the Minister of Finance. How can that work? How can that work, Mr. Prime Minister? You must put people in the areas where they have excelled, in the areas where they can work with each other. You see, today, persons are permanent secretaries. Tomorrow they are ministers. You see a permanent secretary today, tomorrow is a minister. You see a head of division today, tomorrow is a minister. Recently, you saw a permanent secretary today she's the president. How can that work, my brothers? And when you have distinguished persons for the presidency, you got a list of distinguished persons that you can look at for the presidency, and no mention was made of those persons. You look at people like Owen LaRock. What happened to Owen LaRock? What happened to people like Elud Williams? What happened to people like Dr. Carissa Etienne, Alan Paul, Julian Johnson, Davidson Baptist, Hubert Chat? Are all these persons refusing to become the president of Dominica? That you have to go to a permanent secretary to bring her to be the prime minister of Dominica? Dominica is in a danger zone. Dominica is in a danger zone. I don't think we are failed state as yet. We're in a danger zone, and we need to take special attention to what's happening in Dominica.
Yeah, we may not be in a failed state, but my friend, we're in a police state. There's a difference. We may not be, Brother Amron, in a failed state, but definitely we're in a police state. And the whole idea of the economy moving forward with the state being controlled, not just by incompetent people, which is the theme you're raising on. How competent are the people who are running the state at this point, right? And you talk about a core, a group of people in the Freedom Party. You mentioned free people who had the expertise, right? Not just to run the economy, but to manage the state. As well as you mentioned free people in the United Workers' Party. Same thing. They did not just have the skill to manage the economy as a public organization, government, but they had the administrative skill to put Dominica in a position where it could succeed economically, as opposed to what we have now. The expertise is in developing and managing corruption. That is where the expertise lies, and nowhere else. Because we are in a police state and the judiciary itself, right? And we see what happened to our AG. We will get to that in a while, right? But we see where the economy, whether it is based on what you said, whether it's based on export or consumption. You mentioned those two critical aspects of development within an economy. Exports, but you could have both, huh? You could have both. You could have exports thriving and consumption thriving. So we really have to make up our mind where we're going. How we really want to reorganize the economy of Dominica to fit into the modern world. Because they look like we are retrogressing every day, every month, every hour. And you mentioned Senkets. John did a very good presentation, you were not there, of the failed businesses we had in Dominica over a period of time. And I wish he would give you a copy so you could look at this. It is an exhaustive list. And the thing is, it is not backed up by businesses opening now. You could have 20 failures, but 19 or 15, reopening. And you have a good percentage to ensure that your economic relationships stay where they are or move forward. But you see a huge amount of businesses closing down and a few opening, and the few that are opening.
Chocolate cheese.
But it's the Chinese. There's a few that has opening Roseau Central, particularly. And Brother Ron, let me say one thing before I finish to get Marceline in. Given my understanding of the Belt to the Road Chinese International Development Plan, okay? Anywhere you see Chinese in a project, their money is in it. It's not just the labor. It has been verified in Africa. It has been verified in South America. Anytime you see the majority of workers in a project are Chinese, they have a financial interest.
But that there was exceptional in Dominica, because all the development of the housing projects have been done under the CPI program. Our friend in America has ensured that they use Chinese labor as minimal as possible to give inferior work. And you're talking to fellas like, who involved in areas like electricity. And they tell you to go in there and they try to do work. And the work that has been done is so poorly done. You know, and when you come to the physical structure sometime down later the road, you're going to have a serious problem in there.
Because Brother Ron, we have a planning department, which is my area. We have a planning department that does not play a major role in code for construction, in following certain codes for construction. If we had a serious physical planning department with a code basis for the trades, just like we have in New York, we have trade and we have a basis to control the trade through the law, whether it's plumbing, whether it's electrical work, whether it is sheet rocking, roofing, and what have you. You have, Marceline would know that, you have a set of codes that you must follow before I okay anything that is constructed on the site. We haven't got this in Dominica.
That does not play in Dominica.
We haven't got it in Dominica.
Yeah.
So they will get away with it
Yeah.
because we have no serious planning codes for construction in Dominica.
But even without those codes, I mean, anytime you're going to construct a building, there is a plan. And on that plan, the architect would outline what size steel you must use, what materials you must use, the type of the foundation, whatever it is. Just planning monitor those things.
No.
Because if planning was on site for these buildings that the Chinese constructed, we could not have had all those defects. Because there must be standards that planning look at before they can approve a plan.
Yes, however, and Ron made the point, you have a review now that is telling you I did not for the housing revolution, I do not need planning to be there.
Yeah.
I do need plan to be there. What I want to do is complete this thing, get what I can get about it, and make sure that if I need 25 more votes in Cassibros, I will put 25 shekel units there. All right. So it is not just planning the political aspect of construction.
Because up to this day, planning has not had a say in that airport's construction.
Well, what else is there? What else is there? Huh? However, the whole thing there is, and from both Marcel and Ron's presentation, is that we're living in a police state. That's number one. And number two is our economy. Our economy is in a situation where it is really missing some WD-40.
I don't really think we're in a police state. We're getting there. In a police state. Just wanted Marceline. But I believe that after 23 years of having and I will say it very boldly, a very incompetent set of guys running the country, they surround themselves by more incompetent persons. And consequently, the quality of production that they're getting in all different areas is highly compromised.
Right, is it the police that is protecting this corruption? Because the police has the power. And probably they do not understand the level of power they have. But the police, and you know that, the police has the power, right, to put things straight on the corruption leveling Dominica, they have the power to ensure that, okay, that the rules and regulations are being followed, and the rule of law should be followed in all processes we undertake as a state.
That's Marceline.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you said earlier in your presentation that we Dominica is not a failed state and we're a police state. Well, I kind of beg to differ, because what is working in Dominica? Our constitution does not work. We know full well that our constitution has not been working many years now. The election of the new president in Dominica is just recent proof that our constitution is not working. Our justice system is not working. It is not working at all. Our system of governance in Dominica is a total failure. This is a government that cannot provide basic goods and services for the citizens of Dominica. Healthcare is in shambles. Look, they can't provide electricity. Electricity is in shambles. We have no jobs. Look at the level of crime in Dominica. Crime is on the rise. Look at how many murders Dominica has had in the past. In the past few weeks, few months. What is working in Dominica? Nothing is working. The only thing that is working in Dominica is corruption. We have a thriving industry for corruption in Dominica. The country is overrun with corruption. The institutions do not work in Dominica. What is working in Dominica? The only thing that is working in Dominica right now is the patience of the people. And how long will that last? If Dominicans were like the Haitians, for example, or the Jamaicans, for example, Dominica would have been in full throttle decadence. So we should not look at the fact that people are not on the streets running into all kind of gangs and lawlessness in Dominica and think that we are not in a failed state. Look at what happened the other day. Is justice meted across the board fairly? No, it is not. Justice is not rendered. It is not enforced uniformly across the board. The other day, Skerritt's son had an accident in Dominica. Where is Malik Skerritt?
So
what did the police do?
Where's the police?
What did the police do? So you tell me.
That's what I'm saying, Martin. That's what I'm saying. We're in a police state. If so many people have privileges because of the way the police is acting. You just mentioned one. You just mentioned one, Malik Skerritt. And the police allow him to leave wherever he's gone. You talk of lawlessness. If there's lawlessness, the police have given up on the law. If there's lawlessness, the police has actually given up on the only reason lawlessness would exist is like in Haiti. If lawlessness is existing in Dominica, then who has given up on the law? Who is not enforcing the law? Who has to enforce the law?
The police.
The police. So we're in a situation where we have to make up our mind. What is our exact position? What is our exact position? Are we in a failed state, or we're in a police state where lawlessness is rampage? And you mentioned murders, you mentioned X, Y, and Z.
Not being to goods and services, basic goods and services. So if we are waiting for the police, to effect the law, then what about we the people? When this government, this regime constantly breaks the constitution in our face, we are waiting for the police to effect that? No, we the people have the power. And it's time for we the people to execute the power we have.
Yeah, but I didn't say we're waiting on the police.
Which I failed to do,
Yeah, I haven't said we're waiting on the police. All we're saying is the police is not acting. And the
Well, we
police
should
must
get them
act.
to act.
If the police has refused to act, then we have to take the law in our
We
hands and
should
do
get
what
them
we
to
have to do.
act. We should get them to act like how other countries get them to act. Look at the
I
other
think
day.
I think some of the main areas here is that the political directorate is so limited that they have surrounded themselves with more limited persons. And we have failed over 23 years to develop a development plan for Dominica. So we don't have a plan. And
Because
we
you know
go on a
why?
year by year basis and we keep on failing. We keep on falling short all over the areas.
Because
I'm an old man now. I'm an old man now. I'm in the youth of old age.
Mr.
You
Landa,
know,
you know why?
but the young people, the young people are going to have some serious challenges in Dominica if we don't take certain actions as soon as possible, because we are falling short in too many areas. We need to deal with those areas.
And Mr. Landa, you spoke about the sinking hotel in Portsmouth. You mean to tell me that that was the responsibility of the Portsmouth people to inform them that this is a sinking area? Had they gone through the proper channels of the planning division in Dominica, would they have built that hotel on sinking sands?
Exactly.
Had they gone through the proper channel? That is
it's
not the
just-
responsibility of the Portsmouth people, because
No,
there
but
is planning
you got some activists in Portsmouth who have said to the government, look, that's a wrong place to build a hotel. Let's build a marina.
Well,
The
you
same
know why?
money, let's put in the marina.
It's because they bypass the official institutions in Dominica that's supposed to give the approval, like the planning division. They bypass that totally. And this is not the only problematic. That is not the only problematic building in Dominica. Everything that we have built is in problems.
You see, the point I'm making here is the policies are limited and they surround themselves in all different areas. You find permanent secretaries, fellas who are there to help scare it today are permanent secretaries. You got to do indoctrination program for permanent secretaries. As I said earlier on, today you're a permanent secretary, tomorrow you're a minister. You're head of division, tomorrow you're a minister. Look at the critical stage with our head of state now, or a president. She was a permanent secretary of questionable performances, and today she's our president.
Because you know why, Mr. Landa?
How would you move from a permanent secretary to a president?
Because we do not have men and women who would put their oath to the Constitution. They put their loyalty to politicians and party, and that is the problem in Dominica. We need more men and women who are loyal to the oath, to their oath.
And not just the oath, which is what is running saying relative to Portsmouth. You're right. You need men and women who should not only put their to an oath, but be responsible citizens for us to move forward. Similar to the Portsmouth folks, given that I have a little background in city planning and you live in the US, you know how the whole process goes. Right? If we have project is coming into a community, it has to go through a due process where the community is heavily involved. And the community can take a decision as to whether X should go there or Y should go there, but that is not Dominica. So Ron is saying that if the men and women in Portsmouth more tuned to participate in, there's a municipality in Portsmouth.
But okay, sir,
there's a municipality, and what role did the municipality play in, seeing to that site was not put on sinking land?
Yeah, but by now, you're supposed to realize that Scary does not consult with anybody.
But that's what we say.
Like you said, you have the town council in Portsmouth.
How did that come so? How did that come so?
No, but the point is, Dominica, we keep talking about the police failures and now failures. We have failed ourselves. Because if we had,
not me, I always spoke my mind.
No.
I got victimized over an extended period of time. I've always spoken my mind in Dominica. I'm a professional. I went away to school. I've been back in Dominica. I've represented Dominica at the regional and international level, and I've always spoken my mind.
No, when
but guys perceive me as not one of theirs.
When I
they
say
could add value. They put me on the side.
When I say we have failed ourselves, I said that because there are so many wrong things happening in Dominica. Corruption, they're not following the rule of law and all of that. And people sit back and they don't protest and demand that these things change. That's why I said we have failed ourselves.
So that's what we're talking about.
Right. That's what I am referring to.
Okay.
I'm not in it.
I'm not talking
about
about individuals going out there and doing well for themselves and speaking out, because we are speaking out.
John, I will give a clear example. I will give a clear example. Maybe the citizens of Portsmouth spoke. It's just like the citizens of Dominica, the citizens of Wesley spoke, and they said where that airport is going is not the proper place for the airport. What did they do? What did they do?
These guys careless.
They're still building a Chinese village in Wesley, and they're still building something. I don't know if it's an airport they're building, but it looks totally impossible. The whole country spoke about not building an airport there, and they're in full throttle. So these are people who are not listening to the Dominican people. They do not care, and maybe the people from Portsmouth had told them so. But it's in the same way they like to ignore Dominicans. They do not take advice. They don't listen. That's what we get.
Oh, I agree. I know we're running out of time. I agree, Master, 100%. But we in one of the programs, I wish we could examine the national consciousness, right? And what role the national consciousness plays in the development of Dominica. I just wish in one of the programs, the same panel, we could sit here and invite.
All right, folks, it's very interesting discussion. Very interesting discussion.
Yes,
it's already 8:08, and we're supposed to leave at 8 o'clock. And we said earlier on that we'll have a discussion on that election
on
of
drumstick.
the presidential candidate. We don't have much time, so I suppose we can take a 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes of time and run through quickly. But let me just say quickly, let me inform Levi Peter and others that the Constitution gives the opposition the authority, the right, the privilege to nominate someone of their choice to serve as president of the Commonwealth of Dominica. So when Levi come and say, oh, the Bachelors want to cooperate, and at least on that one, they could, nonsense. The Constitution gives the opposition the right, the privilege to nominate someone for president. Right? Now, their choice was Annette Sanford. Your choice, government side, Skerritt's choice was Burton. So what is Levi's problem? I mean, how can he be so insultive and to say those things about Annette and refer to her as a drumstick? You know what? That is part of my problem. That is part of it. But the main problem I have is you have the other ladies sitting in Parliament, and I'll call the names. You have Miriam Blanchard, my cousin, Octavia Alfred, right, aka Madam Pampalam. You have Greta Roberts. You have Lakia Joseph, Fanella Wenham, Melissa Skerritt, Shakira Lockhart, Dennis Charles, aka Minister of Weave. All of these sitting in Parliament and said absolutely nothing. I mean, how can you sit in front as a woman and not correct Levi? Ask him to withdraw his statement and to apologize to Annette. Not one of them did that. And not just ladies, you know. We're also talking about the Speaker of the House. The Speaker of the House said absolutely nothing. Okay? Nothing. Now, the question I want to ask the Speaker, is the Speaker saying that Levi Peters' comments was not imputing improper motive? Was it not unparliamentary for Levi to use those words to Annette? So that's what you have now. Not only you have the 19 parliamentarians on the government side and the 6 senators, you also have the Speaker of the House and the AG against the 2 members of Parliament, elected members, and the 4 senators. It's like having a football game where you have the referees against you, you have a whole team against you, you have the linesmen against you. It's impossible to win that game. Very, very much impossible.
Yeah. What I want to say quickly on that, the both choices were poor choices. You cannot take somebody who's a permanent secretary, work in progress, and you make that person your president. Then the opposition comes with a young person who is 40 plus years, work in progress, and try to suggest them as president.
How old is she?
She's 40 plus, maybe 41, 42.
So only 45.
No, she must be more than 40 to qualify.
45.
It's 45. I think it's 40 is the cross line.
40?
Yeah, 40 is the cross line. We've got so many distinguished persons in Dominica, persons with experience, persons who have served locally, internationally, regionally, and internationally. This person said that they want to be president. People like Carissa Etienne, Dorothy Levy, Erwin LaRocque, Eliud Williams, Alan Paul, Julian Johnson, Davidson Baptist, Hubert Charles. I'm not even calling my name. Hubert Charles. Distinguished persons. All those persons refuse to be president of Dominica. We are in a critical, dangerous, no, not failed state. We're in a critical, dangerous position.
Let me just say quickly that I agree with Ron that both choices, they're not whatever. However, that does not give Levi the right to insult
and criticize the positions.
No, to insult
Selection.
One of the nominees, whether it was not satisfactory or whether you believe that they didn't meet certain standards, then that does not give you the right. Now, the other thing I want to say, which I think may be a little comical, is I wonder if Levi Peters has an allergy to drumsticks. Because, something had to shake him. Something had to move him for somebody who is legally trained
to make that comment.
He's allergic to something. Whether the drumstick is fry, boil, stew, whatever. Something had to move him.
You want me to answer?
Why would you so disrespectful? And I don't care who you are. All right? I don't care what you are. All right? You are in an institution. We know already that I've gone through so much and is going through so much when it comes to the respect for one another in that institution. All right? And you are the people's lawyer. You are the attorney general. What came into you? What pricked you? What moved you to make that? We have to find out exactly behind his thinking what pushed him to actually make that statement.
Comments?
Well, I guess he was thinking of his own dead drumstick. And maybe that's
Martin, how you know the man drumstick is dead?
you get me on that one.
Oh Lord.
That's a nice one.
But from what I can see, the country is imploding. These disrespectful men and women in parliament. And, a lot of times they say, speak no ill of the dead. But this is Alex Boyd Knight's 20-something years legacy that is being continued inside of the house, because she set the precedent for what is going on to the inside of that house. And these people have just denigrated, they have just brought the house to the lowest.
Yep.
And the only thing we can do right now is to strategize, mobilize, and to get these people out from the helm of our country. Because no amount of recommendations that are made, it's not going to make a difference. And there comes a time when we have to realize that the only thing we have to do is to take the bull by the horns and act. We have to act, because this is the only way this country is going to get better, is to remove those criminals who sit and suffocate our democracy, suffocate our economy, suffocate the future of our children, suffocate the very life of our Dominican people, and suffocate our country in itself. It looked like these people were sent to just destroy Dominica totally and to hand over Dominica, on a platter to non-Dominicans. because what they have done, they have made Dominicans second-class citizens. Right now, the Chinese in Dominica have more rights than Dominicans.
Haitians too.
Haitians have more
Yeah.
rights than Dominicans. And do you think that any black people, any black person could go in China and do what these Chinese are doing in Dominica and talk to Dominica in the manner in which they're talking to Dominicans? And Dominicans need to get ready, for these people, because it's time Dominicans start making examples out of these people, because it's the only time we are going to get respect, for them to realize that our ancestors' blood was shed on that land to give us a place where we can call home, and they're not going to run us out from there because we navel string every day. They're not going to take it from us, and we can only do that when we make them see we serious.
Yes, and that we
Thank
are way over time. It's 8:17. We just want Mr. G to give us a call at the studio, so we have to.
You want to do follow-up, right?
We have to round up. We
Okay,
have to round
good.
up. We have to round up.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's see Felicia can switch and just sum up.
Yeah, let me very good. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Marcelin, very much, and
Yes,
for
thank you
very
very
good
much.
positive
Everybody.
discussion. I just hope we could
Thank you,
continue in the vein of our national consciousness to ensure that Dominica move forward, and also always, as I say, brothers and lady, keep the pressure on. Always keep that pressure on.
All right.
Thank you.
Ron, let me thank you for being here this evening. I know you had very little time to really bring out all the information that you would have loved to. And of course, Marceline Edwards, you're always willing and of course able to be with us whenever we call on you. Well, thank you.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right, folks, that is it. It's
God
now
bless us
17 past 8 and we need to
all.
get out of here. So let me just thank you guys who tuned in, those of you who called in and listened to the program this evening. Thank you very much. And of course, please be safe on the weekend. We're hearing of some rain over the weekend because of these two storms that are traveling right across our region. So be careful on the weekend. We are going to have a bit of rain on the weekend. So you take care and may God bless you and good night.
This man say, we're having some problems with democracy. He said they're making it a mockery. The name of the song, Mockery of the Democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please put your hand together? Let's welcome Winston Peters, Gypsy.
What is democracy? And to whom is it directed? Suspending constitution, lawlessness out of hand. And under this constitution, there's no proper prosecution. It looked like this constitution is not for the law-abiding man. Only criminals and crooks to get them off of the hook. Good people must have no fun. They have to be on the run, ducking from bandits, bullets and guns. While they're making a mockery of democracy, violating the law with impunity, and some legal entity defend them with alacrity, while they're making a mockery of democracy. Oh my! Oh, 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 oh. Well, oh, hey, Amnesty International should be disbanded immediately, or charge them all as accomplices for every crime in every country. Cause it look like their only mission is to see the guilty go free, while the victim rights go to waste. Nobody to plead their case. How long would we stand and see democracy going crazy? Oh, how unjust justice is made to be. Oh my, we making a mockery of democracy, violating the law with impunity, and then legal entity, even them with alacrity, while making a mockery of democracy. And you see, going, whoa, yo, 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 yo. Please don't execute the criminals if they've been on death row too long. That's cruel, unusual punishment. Society shouldn't commit this wrong. You violating their human rights. You sure to hear some lawyers say, but the victim rights are lost. While they say justice take its course, look like them criminals is boss. The guilty rights stay in store, protected under due course of the law. You will see them